Welcome back, guys. This is Gaming with Austin, and today we're heading to 23 of the Utopian Community Series. Gotta pause. It's like I'd finish planting the taters in this row. Oops. Gotta move the chair in. A little closer to my desk. Good. Want food, piggies? Yeah. I'm letting the pig get out of the way so I could do this uninterrupted. I'm going to do this pretty quickly. Back to planning. Things have gotten a bit better over the course of the series. Things are the community is beginning to take shape. Because if I would have stopped, things wouldn't be as good. Because as a community grows, the demand for resources grows with it too. Which means eventually this farm would turn into a skyscraper. Eventually. As a result of the growth in demand. Because, you know, as population grows, demand for resources grow along with that too. Especially food and water. Because you actually do need both of those to survive. With shelter, I was just making sure my Good. Everything's all good. Back to the game. There's more land we gotta till as well. Oops. Mistakes can happen. Like that. It's okay to make mistakes. Try to keep the mistakes small, because if they get too big, things are not going to be as you wanted the society to be like in Minecraft. And I'm going to make this as close as I can to real life. Yes, this would be a moneyless society, which everybody is a working classman. Hey, Charles. Oops. Where everybody does work to maintain the community. Some farmers are better than others. The best people for the job would be used for that job. That said job. Actually. The better the workers, better the output, which is better for the, which means a better economy. Yes, it would be a direct democracy. Each community would basically be a direct democracy. Because the people would rule directly. Instead of just one person, it would be everybody ruling. As it would be a direct democracy. Because everybody deserves to have the right to vote. Voter suppression must be banned in all forms. And Congress does voter suppression a lot only to the rich, which is unfair for everybody. Everybody should have the right to vote, no matter their skin color, no matter their ethnic origin. It doesn't even matter their religion. I support the freedom of religious belief. Let's finish planting. There's taters. Imagine if we made... I wonder if we could make toys in Minecraft in a future update. Like Mr. Tater Head. Mr. Potato Head. That'd be great. It would sound good on paper. But they need to add more types of resources too, like petroleum, to make plastic. Or maybe grow hemp. Which, by the way, I'm in support of legalizing hemp all over the world. Because what we need is something that could help us sustain ourselves indefinitely, while minimizing CO2 emissions. Because, you know, eventually CO2 levels, even though CO2 levels would drop 800 million years from now, even though CO2 levels would end up falling, global temperatures would rise even though that would happen. Because the sun slowly gets brighter and brighter over the course of hundreds of millions of years. To where eventually all life on Earth will die. Where it'll get really hot even at the poles. Meaning, really violent hurricanes would be commonplace. As the sun gets hotter and hotter, there'd be a massive growth in greenhouse gases too, especially water vapor. And methane as the permafrost melts, as a result of the sun getting brighter. But in like 3 billion years from now, the conditions on Earth at that time frame would be similar to that of Venus today. In fact, Venus used to be Earth-like in the early days of the solar system. It's not so much Earth-like anymore. Eventually, we'll be left with no choice but to leave our home planet behind. As eventually, a couple billion years after all life on Earth dies, the sun will end up expanding into a red giant. Like, it'll go to the orbit of Earth. Mercury and Venus will end up being engulfed by the expanding sun. Earth? Probably. But Mars? Maybe. does survive the sun's expansion into red giant phase, it would be a lava. It'll be a lava world. Because, you know, once it gets hot enough, rock will actually end up melting. Thus creating lava. You can actually make lava by concentrating sunlight down to a single point, to where it gets super hot. That's how to make lava. Oops. After that, the red giant phase, after it hits the red giant, the tip of the red giant branch, eventually the sun will explode and turn into a white dwarf, which is a stellar corpse of a sun-like star. Just like how Sirius B, what Sirius B is now. F-class stars face a similar fate too. But A, B, and O class stars, they end up going into neutron star or black hole, depending on the mass of the star. With red dwarfs, they age very slowly, which means that life can sustain itself over the course of probably trillions of years. As a result of its long lifespan, and some that matter from a planetary nebula or supernova ends up getting recycled into forming new stars. As a result, after the explosion has started. Because the matter has to go somewhere. It cannot be, because, you know, matter can neither be created nor destroyed. Eventually, hydrogen would be, the elements needed to form stars would be, themselves would end up being scarce, ultimately. Once we run out, we're doomed. Once it runs out, we're doomed. Because with the helium that gets fused in the stellar core as of red giant stars and blue supergiant and red supergiant stars, they end up fusing into higher element numbers, atomic numbers. As a result. Because nuclear fusion just doesn't stop until the star explodes. Once that star explodes, it either becomes a white dwarf, a neutron star, or a black hole. Depending on the mass, as I mentioned earlier. For sun-like stars, or smaller, up to F-class stars, they end up becoming a white dwarf. But for A, B, and O class stars, they become a neutron star or a black hole depending on the mass. We may end up having to build communities like this if we want to build space colonies like what you'll see in Halo. Or Babylon 5. Because, you know, with Babylon, or Andromeda, Because, you know, us humans will not stay on this planet forever. Eventually, we're left with no choice but to leave our planet. We'll be left with no choice but to leave the planet behind. Eventually. This is inevitable. Based on a lot of physicists, like Stephen Hawking. Especially Stephen Hawking, even though he's already dead now. Charles? Eventually... all the stars that we'll see now? Yes? Those big balls of plasma. That's what I'm talking about. Not celebrities. They're gonna end up burning out. And it'll be harder and harder for humans to... Eventually it'll be a lot harder for the humans to survive. Let alone the descendants of humanity. Because eventually, native-born Earth humans would be a rare find. Eventually. Like, within about 1 million years from now. Most of us, like, probably a lot earlier than that, the vast majority of us will live beyond our planet. Especially in the neighboring planets, just like Mars, the moons of Jupiter, the moons of Saturn. Yes, even the moons of Uranus, which is also known as Uranus, which is actually called Uranus. I was just making a joke about about the planet Uranus, because of its name, because of its unfortunate name. Another name for Uranus is also your butthole. Eventually we'll go into the moons of your butthole. Not trying to offend any of y'all. I was just making some jokes here and there. Because the scientific name for the butthole is the anus. You learn that in science. Especially in biology. Like... and even the moons of Neptune, like Triton. And Saturn's moon Titan would be a good choice for humans, since looks... Yes? Since the lakes there are a bit like that of Earth's, but instead of having water, it has liquid methane. Basically, the lakes of Titan are liquid farts. Literally. They are liquid farts. I know this sounds pretty disgusting. But it's also actually pretty funny at the same time. Imagine if I was playing Halo and I killed an enemy in Halo, and I crouched down and made a farting noise. That would teach him a lesson. Like that beef stew scene from Benchwarmers. Even though I'm a vegetarian. That scene, yeah. It's actually kind of funny, yet it's also pretty inappropriate. Like, then Nelson ended up, yes, he is a character in The Benchwarmers. He ended up getting revenge by doing the same thing. And eventually, stuff like Blockbuster would end up finally dying out, because there's only one Blockbuster left on this planet. That is one childhood memory we have to cherish. What if there was a museum dedicated to long-lost stores and technology? Like computers, like the Commodore 64. You really don't have to worry about movie stores anymore. You can just download movies, play them on your computer. Which makes things pretty nice. Since you don't have to drive all the way there, rent a movie and drive all the way back. Because that's just a waste of gas. Collectively, if you just order movies or download them, if you download them, the amount of gas you'll save is a lot. Gasoline, that is. That would mean, eventually, physical stores will end up going out of business, except for grocery stores, and that's about it. Which would be good. What if we made grocery stores walking distance to every household in America? Yes, that would be great for all of us. That could literally get us off our ass. Yes, literally. That would mean physical activity goes up if we all walked instead of drove our cars. Before there was video games, there were board games. Before that, we had to play outside. And eventually, we'd be in virtual simulations eventually. As technology gets more advanced, eventually we'll be playing games in a holodeck. Like, where you have to run in that holodeck to shoot down your enemies. It'd bring the fun back to playing games. Oops. Yes, the holodeck is something you see in Star Trek. And eventually, we'll have the ability to possess other people, as in the movie Gamer, where you play it as a death row inmate fighting for their freedom. Where if you win, they get released. If you lose, they get executed. That's what it's like in the movie. A lot of the science fiction technology that appeared in the Jetsons, we have those today. We need to incorporate technology into Minecraft, into the Minecraft worlds too. So our lives would get better and better over time. I've tried, by the way, I tried clear cola. It tastes like regular cola. If you want to try it out. It's probably going to taste like regular cola. The only difference is there are no dyes in it. Which is good. Since your likelihood of cancer gets reduced anyway, if you ditch the dyes. And it's great if you want to reduce your risk of cancer. Because some of the food dyes have been linked to cancer. Same with the burning of tobacco. Or anything. Being exposed to any kind of smoke can put you at risk for cancer. It's not just cigarette smoke, any smoke in general. Because smoke contains a lot of chemicals. Some of those chemicals are have been known by the state of California, the health department of the state of California, to cause cancer. That is not good. If we all quit smoking, the cancer rates around the world will drop significantly. Medical bills around the world will drop, too. Oops. But you know, with marijuana, it's a completely different story. It's been known over and over again by scientists to treat diseases without the deadly side effects. Opioids are really addictive. Okay, sorry about that. Opioids, on the other hand, are really addictive. So addictive, in fact, some people who try opioids the first time without any doctors, they end up hurting themselves so they could get more of it. That's not good. That's why some people end up abusing opioids. Some of them end up using insurance fraud as a way to get them. That is not good. Want to know what insurance fraud is? Basically, you wreck your truck to get the insurance money to pay the truck. That's what insurance fraud is. Literally. Or maybe hurting yourself so you could get the insurance money to pay off your debts. That's insurance fraud. It's not just health insurance and car insurance. Other types of insurance involve that too. Oops. As Larry Cable Guy believed that what he said was, quote, "I believe that sometimes you gotta wreck the truck to get the insurance money to make the truck payment." That's what he said. That was in Blue Collar Comedy Tour Rides Again. With Jeff Foxworthy, Bill Engvall, Tater Salad, and the Get Her Done, Larry. Who was also known as we were in the 2016 election, I probably would have voted for tater salad. Yes, I'm talking about Ron White. Because he's a funny guy. There was one of those comedy routines involving tater salad where he told the story of being thrown out of a bar just because he was wearing a hat and being drunk in public. This is why you should never let your friends drive drunk. If you're drunk, have someone pick you up so you don't get arrested, because no one wants to go to jail for DUI. I'd rather not drink booze. If I'm gonna drive a car, I'm gonna ditch the booze. Because remember, that ain't food. This concludes our video for today. Thank you for watching. Leave a like if you liked this video, dislike if you disliked it, subs if you loved it, bell icon to be notified. Share this with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and other social media. Help my channel. Thank you for watching, and as always, peace.